night is there's a young Afghan guy who worked in the hospital. Obviously trusted. I'm sure he had to get a lot of background checks just to make sure he was like on the up and up. But I'll never forget just watching it and just seeing him in the room after this guy had already expired. I'm just seeing him kind of just mop up this blood on the ground, just like being angry, like just thinking to myself, I hope this guy knows that what this American passed away for, it was for him. It was August, towards the end of August, where one of my best friends, Jonathan Bittner, we used to just do tower guard all the time together. Like I would make sure if he was on guard duty, I'd relieve whoever he was with, just so we could hang out, smoke cigarettes in the towers, and just really have a good time. And we came back from traveling for a couple weeks and landed. It was at night, and just landing, and he took care of a lot of the water on the little fob that we were at, just making sure everything was stocked. And I got off the helicopter, and just seeing him just quiet, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And weeks prior, he had talked to me about he was struggling with mental health, and I just kind of laughed it off, like, hey, we're going home. Like, everything's going to be good. He had talked to me about, hey, maybe I'll need some medication or something. It's like, dude, you're good. Like,
do you think part of it also was maybe the stress of going home?
Part of
knowing that, I remember that we talked about that one point where Veterans Day and Memorial Day were difficult for me. And part of it was because you were around all these people that were just completely fucking oblivious to like the sacrifice that others had made. And part of where I got so jammed up sometimes was like, you don't fucking understand. You know what I mean? Well, even before you get back, you know, maybe even recognizing that, wait a minute.
Yeah. And it was hard. And so that was, again, probably maybe a month before. So fast forward, I'm getting off the helicopter one night. I see him just down. I'm like, yo, what's up? And that was it. I didn't say anything else. And I think it was like a couple days later, he ended up shooting himself. And this was something I held on. Thank you. Like, I held on to this for years. I'm going to do it. So I applied for a dog from an organization called Puppies Behind Bars.
Okay.
Very strict organization. They're very selective. And so they train service dogs for Iraq and Afghanistan vets. And the dogs come fully trained. They're raised in prisons up in New York and Connecticut by inmates. And so the veterans would go up to work with the inmates for 2 weeks, learning the commands, how to take care of a dog, and they send us home with one. And her name was Annie. She's still around. She's retired. She's going to be 14 in March. A black lab.
God bless Annie.
Amazing girl. Saved my life. Taught me how to love again. How to be vulnerable, right? Dogs don't care. They'll love you no matter what. Whether you're having a bad day, a good day. So it's like, I owe her so much. Like, I had woken up in the middle of the night where I was living in Harleysville with my brother at the time, hearing sirens. Like,
not knowing that
I was like, something's going on. So I went back to sleep. But then the next morning, waking up and seeing, man, the shootings, like in Harleysville, and knowing some vets around. Oh, man, that's crazy. I got to take my dog out. So I grab my gun and just go out. Like, not knowing what's happening.
Right.
And then I get a call. I actually put the pieces together. I saw a Facebook post, and he was like something talking about his kids, and I was like, oh man. I was like, in my head, I was like, oh shit. Like,
it was him.
And really within minutes, I get a call from this woman on the phone, like, hey, this is so-and-so from Montgomery County. We need you to come up to Pennsburg. There's a headquarters, I forget what they call it, like a headquarters of the police and stuff. And I was like, well, what's going on? And she's like, well, I can't tell you.
That's
I was like, well, I think I know what's going on, and there's no way I'm going to be able to drive up there. So the stellate ganglion block has been used for about 100 years for pain.
Right.
But they're noticing over the years that it affects mental health. It's still considered experimental for mental health, even though it's FDA approved for pain.
Right.
So insurance won't cover it and all this. So anyway, I walked down into this office in Annapolis. I'm like, oh man, like I could barely make it. I am like full-blown panic mode. Lay you down, they numb the area, and then they inject you. And when I say like within a minute, 2 minutes at max, that I was crying in tears because it felt like 1,000,000 pounds was just lifted off of my shoulders. It was like for the first time since before I deployed that I felt calm. I felt so relaxed, and it wasn't an artificial.
Well, so here's the thing, like, and this is so things you don't know about.